And now for our final introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing our 2016 California Wrestling Hall of Fame inductee, the current principal and assistant wrestling coach at Gilroy High School, formerly known as Superman while competing at Independence High School, Dr. Marco Sanchez. Dr. Sanchez, a self-described troubled child, got his start in wrestling while attending William Shepherd Middle School in San Jose. In his youth, Dr. Sanchez was often getting into fights and was headed down a bad path before the school's wrestling coach, Mr. Paul Ashmore, discovered him. Coach Ashmore dragged Dr. Sanchez in the wrestling room one day and said, "You want to fight? This is the real fight." Dr. Sanchez says the wrestlers had trashed him and he got very upset. Dr. Sanchez mentioned that he had told the guys, "I'm going to come back and beat all you guys." And at that moment, that's where he got bit in the bug with the wrestling as far as being the defining moment for him in middle school. Dr. Sanchez wasn't always the big man on campus. In ninth grade and at Independence High School, he was 98 pounds, a waif among his peers. However, through those high school years, Superman was a 3-time Central Coast Section champion, state medalist, and a 1988 CIF state champion at 119 pounds his senior year. In addition, Superman was a 1987 U.S. Junior World Team member, finishing 5th. He was a 3-time Junior National All-American and Greco-Roman National Champion. He was a member of the U.S. Esquire Freestyle World Team, finishing 4th. After high school, Dr. Sanchez attended Arizona State University, where he was a 2-time NC2A All-American, placing 2nd and 8th, and was a Pac-10 champion at 134 pounds. He was also a 1990 Freestyle University National Champion and a 1991 and 94 Greco-Roman University National Champion. He went on to win 3 U.S. Olympic Festival gold medals and place at the U.S. National Open 4 times. Dr. Sanchez, however, did not end his wrestling career when he graduated from ASU, the first in his family to graduate from college. Choosing to honor his father, Rafael, a native of Puerto Rico, Dr. Sanchez qualified for the 1996 Olympics with his top 4 finish at the 1995 Pan American Championships representing Puerto Rico. He finished 15th at the Atlantic Games at 136.5 pounds. In a recent interview, Dr. Sanchez said, "But when he," referring to his father, "found out I could represent Puerto Rico in the Olympics, his eyes widened with excitement." He was really proud of that. Inspired by Dr. Sanchez's mother, who received her general equivalency diploma at 29, and the hard work of his father, a commercial fisherman and baker who never graduated from high school, Dr. Marco Sanchez continued his education, earning not only a master's degree in education, but a PhD in organizational leadership. Along the way, he was also a prestigious Fulbright scholar. Asked who else gave him inspiration to continue his education after high school, Dr. Sanchez replied to a reporter, I was planning to be a Marine. Instead, thanks to support and encouragement from my high school teachers and coaches, I was a Fulbright scholar. I never thought anyone would invest money in me for doing something I loved." A former member of the U.S. Navy's Naval Reserves from 1999 through 2001, Dr. Marco Sanchez is currently in his 7th year as principal of the Gilroy High School. He also coaches and was named National Wrestling Coaches Association Assistant Coach of the Year for the state of California. He has served on the Central Coast Section Executive Committee and the CIF Federation Council for the past 6 years. Dr. Sanchez was named the 2015 Gilroy Chamber of Commerce Educator of the Year. Well, Dr. Sanchez, a.k.a. Superman, and my good friend, it gives me great honor to introduce you tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, inducted into the 2016 California Wrestling Hall of Fame, Dr. Marco Sanchez.
Good evening. I want to congratulate the other nominees and thank the Hall of Fame committee for selecting me for this prestigious honor. I also want to thank Coach Lynn Dyke for harassing us with multiple emails leading up to this event, including what to wear. And that's just too funny because, as we all know, wrestlers are very special. We would show up to an event like this with in a pair of sweats and shorts and flip-flops, so we weren't told otherwise, right? Expect to get in free and eat everything in sight. All kidding aside, thanks, Coach Dyke. I know there's a lot of work that goes into putting on an event like this, and I want to thank the Hall of Fame committee for making this event extra special. To stand in the company of the class of 2016, given all their accomplishments, is a humbling experience. I want to thank God for putting such great people in my life, many who are here this evening, and if you could just wave to the crowd when I mention you, that would be great so everyone knows who you are. My middle school wrestling coach, Paul Ashmore, club coaches Dwayne Morgan, Oscar Gonzalez, high school coaches Jesse Barajas, Albert Perez, Bill Grant, Brian Canali, J.D. Robbins, and Arizona State and Olympic coach Bobby Douglas. And the late, great Mark Herzl, Wayne Jones, David Shade, and Jim Root all had an impact on me. The lessons the sport of wrestling has taught me have been invaluable, largely responsible for who I am today. These important coaches did so much in teaching those lessons to me, whether intentionally or unintentionally, with their actions. I'm truly blessed. I also want to thank Elias Chamorro, my high school principal. He was so supportive of me during my high school years, and we stay in touch to this day. Thank you, Mr. C. I also want to thank Sebastian and Virginia Guerrero for taking me in during my high school years, shortly after my mother's death. Those epic living room wrestling matches followed by noogies to the loser with extra ring and extra knuckles toughened up your boy Eric rather nicely, don't you think? Thanks, Sebastian and Virginia. I also know that my coaching career might have played a part in my selection. Being part of a great high school program that produces champions on and off the mat have been an amazing experience. 14 Central Coast section titles in a row, 10 straight top 10 finishes in the state, including 4th last year. It's been a great run, Coach Varela. Thank you, and the best is yet to come. I also want to thank, take a moment to brag on my boss. Yeah, I'm going to embarrass you, boss. Dr. Flores, Dr. Debbie Flores, who has been the superintendent of Gilroy Unified for 9 years. She's an amazing leader who happens to run marathons for a hobby, so she understands athletics pretty well. And she lets me coach the wrestling team. Come on, what high school principal gets a chance to do that? That's like crazy, right? No wonder she was recognized as the 2016 California Superintendent of the Year. Congratulations, boss, and thank you for your support. I also want to thank former Assistant Superintendent of Elk Grove Unified School District for recruiting me out of the oven known as Phoenix, Arizona 12 years ago to be the Vice Principal of Elk Grove High School. Thank you, Dr. Odie Douglas. I also want to thank Nancy Blazer Lazenby, the Central Coast Section Commissioner for 29 years, an amazing tenure, and current Commissioner Dwayne Morgan for their guidance and mentorship concerning high school athletics, which has helped me in the current role as a CIF Executive Committee member. And to my fellow Independent 76ers being inducted today, a special congratulations. Coach Barajas, I can be here all evening telling everyone how special and how much you mean to me. Thank you, Coach Barajas. Anthony Palomino was a legend by the time I hit the 9th grade. He and his brother Ricky set the bar real high and gave the rest of us something to shoot for. Thank you, Anthony. And then coming back and winning a state title as a coach, amazing. Finally, off soon, I remember playfully giving you my leg in a taunting, mocking fashion during lunch after we found out that you were from Rerun and you had a wrestling background. You were a skinny little thing and probably weighed about 98 cents at the time. Long story short, you dumped me on my behind before I could even react. All I remember was hearing, "Ooh, did you see Soup get dumped on his butt?" It was an epic and defining moment for both of us. Now you're coaching the U.S. Women's Olympic team. Amazing job, off soon. In closing, I want to thank my mini-me and son Marco and his beautiful mom, my wife, Colleen, for putting up with all the demands on my time that my profession and coaching require. I love you both. Well, I'm done. It's been fun, but I gotta run. Thank you all for listening. Have a good evening, and God bless you all.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Marco Sanchez and his presenters are his coaches, Mr. Paul Ashmore, Mr. Albert Perez, and Mr. Jesse Barajas.